is a trigger warning. Today's story deals with kidnapping, murder, and the sexual assault of minors. These are tough topics, but I chose to discuss them due to the global human trafficking problem. It's a multi-billion-dollar business. Women and children are the primary victims. We all need to be diligent and report anyone or anything suspicious to authorities.
Hi, my name is Barbie Flanagan. Welcome back to True Crime Terror Tales. If you are new here, please like and subscribe. Today we're going to be talking about a popular Netflix documentary. It's called The Girl in the Picture. And it's about a man who kidnaps a girl and makes her his stepdaughter, and then she becomes his wife. It is a very traumatic tale. What I'm going to do right now is tell you a little bit about this man. His name is Franklin Delano Floyd. He was born June 17th, 1943. His parents were Thomas and Della Floyd. Thomas was abusive, he was an alcoholic, and he died at the age of 32 from kidney and liver disease. Della was only 29 and she was left as a widow. She could not take care of their 5 children. So what she did was put them in an orphanage. And Franklin was the youngest child and he was there the youngest. And he actually had a hard time. He was beaten, he was starved, and unfortunately at the age of 6 he was sexually assaulted with a broomstick by the other boys. They saw him as effeminate. He took this as long as he could, and then in 1959, he decided to break out. He broke out and he went to a nearby house because he was starving to steal food. He was caught, and the authorities said, okay, you have an older sister who lives in North Carolina. She has a family. If she will take you in, we won't press charges. So that is what happened. But Franklin was so bad by this point that his sister had to kick his behind out. So now he said, hey, where's my mom? Where's Della? So he decides to go hunt for Della, and she's in Indianapolis. She has become a prostitute, and she can't afford to take care of him. So they decide to forge some papers to get Franklin into the U.S. Army. He gets in. He's there for about 6 months. They're like, who's this kid? And they kick him out. He goes looking for his mother again. His mother is gone. So now he is 16 years old, and he's in California. He becomes a drifter. The first thing he did is decide that he needs a gun. So he goes into a Sears store and attempts to rob the store. Well, he ends up getting into a shootout with police, and his stomach is shot. He ends up going to a juvenile detention home for about a year. This happened with him in and out of jail for a couple of years. And then his crimes became just unbelievable. One time he got out of jail and he decides to kidnap a 4-year-old girl, and he took her to the woods and he sexually assaulted her, and the child had bite marks on her private area. He was sentenced to 10 to 15 years in jail. And during that time, he served time in California, Georgia, Illinois, and he also served in Ohio, and he also served time in Pennsylvania. But it was so bad in Pennsylvania because he was known as a child rapist. He was a target, and he couldn't take it. So he decides to climb on the roof of the Pennsylvania prison and say he's going to commit suicide. They end up moving him to another prison. So flash forward to 1973. He finally gets out into a halfway house. He does his time, everything's going great. And a week after he gets out of the halfway house, he again gets a victim and sexually assaults her. He goes back to jail, and a pal that he met in jail said, hey, I'm going to bail you out, give you a chance. And so Franklin said, yeah, okay. He gets bailed out, and Franklin said, this is it. I'm tired of this life. I've been doing this for 13 years. I'm gone. I'm going to start a new life. And what he does for the next 20 years is just unbelievable.
In 1990, 20-year-old Tanya Hughes was found bleeding on the side of the highway about 100 miles from Oklahoma City. She was a victim of a hit and run. Her husband Clarence and son Michael were at a nearby motel waiting for her to return with the groceries. That would never happen. The accident would eventually crack open a 16-year-old lie. It was 1974, and Franklin Delano Floyd was on a run from the law. He called himself Brandon Williams. In North Carolina, Floyd met Sandy Chipman, a single mother of 4. She said she was about to lose her children, and Floyd offered to help. Within 3 weeks, they were married. While Sandy served 30 days in jail for check fraud, Floyd emptied her house and took her children. Sandy got 2 of her children back from social services. Her newborn son, Philip, had been secretly adopted. Floyd kidnapped her oldest child, 4-year-old Suzanne Marie Savakis, and since he was her legal stepfather, police refused to look for little Suzanne. In 1975, a cute blonde girl named Suzanne Davis attended an Oklahoma City school. Her father went by the name Trenton Davis. He claimed Suzanne's mother died from cancer. Suzanne was a smart, friendly child who did well in school, but her home life was horrific. Floyd sexually violated her, and so did his buddies. It was so bad that a babysitter contacted authorities. Floyd quickly disappeared with Suzanne, something he would do over and over again. By the mid-1980s, Floyd and Susan had settled in Forest Park, Georgia. They were known as Warren and Sharon Marshall. Sharon was popular and an excellent student who received a full-ride scholarship to Georgia Tech to study engineering. She dreamed of working for NASA. Her best friend was Jennifer Tanner. Sharon often called Jennifer, but Jennifer could not call Sharon. Floyd didn't allow it. One day, Floyd invited Jennifer to spend the night with Sharon in their small trailer. Jennifer said Sharon had lots of sexy underwear, which seemed strange for a teenage girl. Then things got terrifying. Floyd came into the room and pointed a gun at the girls. He made Jennifer get on the floor while he raped Sharon. Fear kept Jennifer from telling anyone what happened that night. She said Sharon said it was no big deal. Sharon and her father moved after senior year. Jennifer thought she went to college. Months later, she got a surprising call. Sharon told Jennifer that she had given birth to a baby boy. Her father wouldn't let her go to college because she got pregnant. She was working as an exotic dancer in Tampa, Florida. Jennifer just couldn't believe how someone so smart had thrown it all away. By this time, Floyd was unemployed and relied on Sharon's tips and welfare checks to make ends meet. At least Sharon had made a friend, 18-year-old Cheryl Ann Camiso. The teenager lived with her father in Tampa. She became a dancer to buy a red Corvette and get breast surgery. Cheryl wanted to become a Playboy bunny. Floyd offered to take nude pictures of her new breast. He kept the pictures for his own pleasure and may have sexually assaulted Cheryl. As revenge, Cheryl reported Tanya for welfare fraud, stopping her checks. Floyd was so mad that he walked into the club and punched Cheryl in the face right in front of everyone. She disappeared the next day, leaving her precious red Corvette behind. Floyd and Tanya became suspects. They burned the trailer down and went on the run. Records show that in 1989, Floyd and Sharon became Mr. and Mrs. Clarence and Tanya Hughes. Floyd had officially made his daughter his wife. She had her breast enlarged, and her new husband put her to work in a New Orleans strip bar. Tanya got pregnant again and gave birth to a baby girl named Megan, whom she gave up for adoption. The final move for the married couple was to Tulsa, Oklahoma. Things were rough. Floyd forced Tanya to make $200 a night or she was severely beaten. Floyd had become a pimp. Everyone at the club knew she was a victim and urged her to leave. Tanya felt trapped. Floyd threatened to kill both Tanya and Michael if she tried to escape. He had even joined the Fraternal Order of Police so he'd have help hunting her down. Tanya decided it was time to leave Floyd. She planned to get away with Kevin Brown, a man she met at the club. Before she and Michael could escape, the suspicious hit and run happened. Tanya was taken to a hospital where she died a few days later. The dancer she worked with purchased this headstone. They didn't know her last name nor her date of birth. After Tanya's death, Floyd tried to collect an $80,000 life insurance policy. He used a social security number that led back to his old life and flagged authorities. After 17 years on the run, police captured Floyd in Augusta, Georgia. He was a suspect in the disappearance of Cheryl Camiso. He was also sentenced to 2.5 years for a kidnapping and rape case from the 1970s. Floyd had put Michael in foster care. His foster parents described Michael as nonverbal and traumatized, and he had little muscle control. Over time, he got better and flourished in his new home. The foster parents began the adoption process, which included a DNA test. And guess what? Franklin was not Michael's father. In 1993, Floyd got out of jail and wrote the Supreme Court to get custody of Michael. Since Michael wasn't his biological son and Franklin had a criminal record, his request was rejected. On September 12, 1994, Floyd walked into an Oklahoma school and kidnapped 6-year-old Michael and the principal at gunpoint. The principal was later left in the woods unharmed and tied to a tree. A few months later, police captured Floyd. Michael wasn't with him. Investigators searched for Michael, but he was never found. Floyd received a 52-year sentence for kidnapping Michael. He was finally locked up for good. Floyd was still a suspect in Cheryl's murder. In 1996, investigators got a shocking lead. Taped under Franklin's pickup truck, they found pictures of Cheryl tied up, beaten, and nearly dead. Around the same time, Cheryl's skeleton was discovered in Pinellas County, Florida. The cause of death was a combination of a severe beating and 2 gunshots in the head. Floyd's envelope also contained pictures of a little girl being sexually abused by Floyd. Investigators had no idea who she was. They kept interrogating Floyd. Finally, 14 years after Tanya Hughes died, Floyd told investigators that Tanya was really Suzanne Savakis, a girl he had kidnapped. In 2014, Floyd was sent to death row for the murder of Cheryl. In 2015, he admitted to shooting Michael twice in the head on the same day he kidnapped him. Floyd has never confessed to Suzanne's murder, never apologized to her family for ruining her life. Franklin is nearly 80 years old. He killed at least 3 innocent people. No execution date has been set yet. Due to his health issues, this monster will probably die before justice is done.
If you want to know more about this story, check out that documentary on Netflix called The Girl in the Picture. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.